Happy Tuesday, everyone, but more importantly, happy reunion day for Summer House. This is a really big day for all of us, and those of you who have been following my Summer House coverage, thank you. And for those of you who have disagreed with some of my takes, also thank you, because that's the fun of it. My cousin and I, who I had join me last week, Kaylee, were talking about that is what makes the Bravo community and all of the lore so entertaining and so fun, because we can disagree, we bring new perspectives, we can change our minds, okay? Like Kaylee, for example, for years, we have disagreed on the Lindsay and Kyle of it all, and I've been a Lindsay and Kyle apologist, and, she turned a corner. She saw different perspectives. Or for me, I was able to see sides for Amanda Batula and, defend her at moments, even though it was hard for me. And even when it was really painful for me, I was able to see the faults in Kyle Cook. For anyone who knows me and knows how much I love that man, yeah, that was hard, but sometimes you gotta do it. Just like with your friends and family in life, you're not always going to agree with every decision they make. But here's the thing, if you are truly someone's friend, or if you can see the good and the bad in people while also still loving them for who they are, then that's what we should all be, embracing and thanking our lucky stars that we can do that. So this has been such a wild ride covering the Summer House of it all. So tomorrow, tune in, I'll be releasing that episode, and Chi-Chi is coming back, as I mentioned, because she's really one of the only people I can sit down with for hours and talk about this without us getting bored and wanting the conversation to ever die. That's really our problem. We recorded last week for over 2 hours. So tomorrow we're gonna try to cut that down to an hour so I can get it out in time for you all and we can recap the reunion. But today's episode, I want to talk about something that has kind of been keeping me up at night. And I feel as though it's something that I kind of finally nailed the tail of the donkey, or pinned the tail on the donkey. We all know I'm not the best with the phrases, okay? But we get the gist. I find myself as somebody, when something is coming up in my life or I'm really looking forward to something, I create this really elaborate fantasy. And I have what I've now diagnosed myself as perfect moment syndrome. And when that moment or that curated fantasy doesn't happen the way I envisioned it for all those years and years and years, or even a week or a day, I tend to get down about it. And I want to bring this up because I feel like for the longest time, I felt embarrassed in a way, but the last couple weeks, I have found myself doing this more and more. It's really me almost setting the most craziest expectations for myself. And when I don't meet them, then I get down on myself. And it's this disappointment cycle. So I figure there has to be people out there who can relate to this. More importantly, I'm doing this for the brides because we're approaching wedding season and they are creating this perfect moment in their mind. And I just want to tell the brides, stop. Don't do it. I just hit my 1-year anniversary mark and my husband and I had the most incredible day celebrating. But I still found myself thinking back to moments being like, why didn't I change my second dress? If only I hung out and spent more time with this person. When in reality, my wedding was more than anything I could have ever dreamt of when I was young Taylor. Truly. Beyond words. I wish I could relive it every day. I'm sure most brides feel that way. But I also think it's okay for us to acknowledge the fact that there are certain moments that we envisioned. But then again, everything is supposed to happen the way it's supposed to happen. I know it sounds so cliche and it's please, Taylor, not everything. And I get it. But it really is stepping stones and different curveballs that life throws at you to set you up for the next thing or to teach you a lesson. So in that moment of me, something so silly, why didn't I get to put on my little feather number, which was such a moment, but I get to wear that for something else. And I got to stay in my wedding dress that I waited a whole year to wear and you only wear for one night. When I took off that wedding dress, you all talk about that for 1 second, it's almost I was burying it. I was so sad. I was no. But when I got my wedding dress preserved, shout out Tom and Courtney, love you forever, there's a little window and I just kind of look at it. And that's kind of my way of keeping it, close to my heart and just looking at pictures, of course. But back to the perfect moment syndrome. I just feel the wedding's an example, right? And a lot of brides, you're gonna have this. You're gonna have this feeling of I want it to go this way. This is gonna be the timeline. You have to let it go at some point. I just wanted to kind of make this a PSA call out to the brides as you get to embark on the best weekend, day of your life. Just take it in, breathe, let go of that perfect moment you thought of in your head, because I promise you, whatever you thought of will be better. And guess what? If it doesn't go the way you envisioned and isn't better, but then that was the plan, and that's a memory that you and your husband, wife, I mean, gosh, I don't want to knock out the guys here, or partner, however we want to do this. That is something you can talk about forever. Okay, so we talked about the wedding perfect moment syndrome. Now let's talk about other days. Everybody has days maybe, or a stretch where they don't see their partner or their friends or, their parents, their sisters, brothers, cousins. And then when you get to have a day with them and something you really are looking forward to, are you picturing what it's going to be? And then when it's not that, you're like, mother. That's me. Okay, that is me to a T. So a couple of instances happened recently where I went on a long stretch with my schedule being, working at the restaurant. And I basically, when my husband gets up for work, I'm sleeping. When I leave for work, he's not home yet. He's in bed by the time I get home. So you get the picture. We go for maybe 3 or 4 day stretch. We don't really see each other. So I build up these weekends and these one days that we get together as the Mecca, okay? I'm planning to a T, making sure we're gonna do all of our favorite things. We're gonna hit this restaurant, get this ice cream. We're gonna play that game we love to play. We're gonna maybe have a little cutesy walk around town. And then guess what comes in? Life, errands, maybe moods that we didn't expect, exhaustion, being tired. One person makes a flippant comment and then the day shouldn't be ruined. But in my mind, that perfect moment syndrome, I swear my diagnosis, my disease, I'm just no. What do you mean? What do you mean we're not doing that? What do you mean, we don't have time to do this? What do you mean we're bickering about X, Y, Z? I can't get out of that, but not anymore. Okay. This is me saying it out loud so that I don't do it anymore. But truly, it's me almost recognizing, I think that is when I get in my head and I overthink and I'm why couldn't it have been this way? But it all comes back to setting expectations for ourselves, for the day, for an activity, and then letting them go if they don't go exactly as planned. So that is something I am really trying to work on. And I notice it's something I've always been this way, you all. It's a perfectionist in me that when I don't meet my own expectations, or when an event or a scenario doesn't meet my expectations of what I envisioned, I get disappointed. And I know I'm not inventing the wheel here. This is a real thing and people go through this, but I don't feel it's talked about enough. In the sense of we need to reset how we look at things and reset our expectations, maybe lower them a little bit so that we're not in this disappointment cycle and can just enjoy and live in the moment and let all of that go. So that has been on my mind recently, and I feel almost liberated and an elephant has left my chest because I figured out what that has been for me. And now I can address it moving forward. It's all this time I've just had this disappointment cycle of well, this didn't go this way. And then I just move on with my life and then look back and I'm why was I such a biatch that day? And it's oh, because you didn't end up getting that ice cream flavor that you really wanted, when in reality, it's not a big whooping deal. So that is something that I just want to kind of remind myself. And if you can relate, remind yourself this too. Let go of the expectations. Try to diagnose yourself with perfect moment syndrome to start, because that is the first step, you all. And then address it from there. Lower expectations, enjoy life for what it is, and stop trying to make it what we think it should be. That's another thing that I didn't even really think about until now saying it. Excuse me. I swear to God, I'm not crying. My voice just cracked there. But I can cry if you all really want me to get into it. I feel I catch myself doing is I should be doing this, or I'm supposed to be doing this, instead of just I did do this, or I am learning X. I'm trying to do this. And I feel changing the phrasing helps us, because it's who is saying you're supposed to? You and your brain, your thoughts. You are saying you're supposed to be doing this. Also, you all, I didn't mean for this to turn into a therapy session and me to be Taylor therapist, but I guess I can do that if this helps you all. Again, I'm not going to use any of the jargon or specific phrases. I'm not going to say everything perfectly because we're breaking that. We're breaking the perfect moment syndrome. And by the way, perfect is boring. Perfect is so boring. So let's hold on to that as well. But yes, okay, going back to me being a therapist, putting that cap on. Yes, I feel like we always tend to say like I should, I'm supposed to be, and thinking about like myself and this perfect moment syndrome I have diagnosed myself with, and just reframing my brain and how I look at scenarios or how I live my life day to day, or even like tasks I'm trying to get done, or if I talked about this on last week's episode, but like when I got super busy, my work schedule, and then I let some things go around the house, and then I was beating myself up like, well, why didn't I get to this? Why didn't I get to this? I should be doing this. It's like, you can't do it all. So I think that that's also a part of the perfect moment syndrome, is like, when you get disappointed because you're not meeting your expectations, but it's like when you set them so high and you try to do everything in life known to mankind, like something is gonna fall. Something is gonna fall through the cracks. We're human. And I know that I'm saying all the things that like we see on a Pinterest board and we have saved and put on as our screensaver at some point, but we don't remind ourselves enough of it. At least I don't. So if I'm out here thinking this, there's got to be someone else. And if there is, please, dear God, comment so I feel like I'm not alone in this. I'm over here like, we think this. We feel disappointed ourselves. We have perfect moment syndrome. And you guys are on your screen like, who's we? You got a mouse in your pocket? Like, girl, it's you. But no, like, is it us? Is it us? Am I alone in this? So that has been on my mind this week, and I just want to kind of touch on it and see if this resonates with anyone else. And if it does, like, let's cap it, okay? There's no reason to dwell on what didn't happen, dwell on what could have happened, or think in the future, create this wild fantasy of what it should be. Yeah, it's fun to daydream. Yeah, it's really, really great to plan in detail and get all your ducks in a row. But if one of the ducks comes out of the row, we're gonna move on, people. We're gonna bounce back. And that's also a big thing I'm trying to work on, you all, is the bounce back. When something doesn't go as I envisioned, let's brace for it. Brace for impact, because I can't move on. Then I'm just like down about that. I'm down about the fact that it didn't go that way. Instead of just like being like, okay, this didn't happen. Moving on with our day. Let's live in the moment. So I am grabbing this perfect moment syndrome by the freaking and not letting it take over my mind, my space, my day, and ruin the actual moment I'm living in. Seriously. Like, not me literally dwelling on what could have been instead of living in what is. Mic drop. Mic drop. That felt like a quote. That felt like something we could like make on a Pinterest board. The other thought I had is that this fantasy we build in our heads, it's like the magic is already there if you let it be enough. Like, if we continue, I keep saying we, if I continue, I'm like, there's gotta be someone who can relate, right? If I continue to think of like the fantasy and what the dream and what it all should be, and what this afternoon should look like, or this podcast episode should look like, or what my outfit and hair should look like for a wedding, which, yeah, that's a whole nother thing, you guys. When I'm a guest for a wedding, I think real hard and deep about what that whole look is going to entail. And I have a wedding coming up in a couple of weeks. Shout out Cat Jury, so excited. And yeah, no, I don't have my look together, and I feel like I'm dropping the damn ball. But Taylor today, not gonna let that ruin the vibe, the mood. I'm just gonna find my look. I have so many sisters, two sisters, and a mother and friends that I can maybe see what dresses they have, or I can look online and try to find something. But like, it's going to all work out, because you know what always looks good? What always looks good every single time is if you feel good about yourself. So that's the energy we're bringing. If I don't like my dress and I'm not feeling my hair that day, that's okay. Because it's all about bringing the positivity, the energy, the vibes, having fun, enjoying the moment. So that's the thing. We have to just let it be enough. I can't focus so much on the end result. and just enjoy the process. And I feel like that is all encompassing of what I'm talking about. Like yesterday, for example, was Memorial Day. And honestly, all I wanted to do was sit down and edit videos and work on this. But I knew I needed a break. I knew I needed a day off to like work out, grocery shop, get the house together, like do the things that I had been putting in the back seat. Just have like a slow day. And I'm so glad I did that because I got just like enjoy the day, and I made this amazing dinner for my husband and I, and we just got to like really catch up. This is the funny thing. I didn't think last night was gonna be like, I didn't envision this perfect moment, this perfect dinner, this beautiful night together. But we ended up having one because I just let it be. I ended up making this like really fun dinner that I didn't even plan at the grocery store. All of a sudden I'm like throwing like bacon and balsamic into Brussels sprouts and like whipping up some salmon. I'm over here like throwing some peaches in a salad. And my husband's like, this is one of the best dinners I've ever had. I'm like, I didn't even plan this. I was like, what do we have in our fridge? What did I get from the grocery store? Let's whip this up. So it's like, and then it ended up being the best night. That is actually not to use the word perfect, I told myself not to, but that's a perfect example of letting the moment be the moment and not planning so hard. So happy Tuesday. This was me kind of just vomiting to you all about something that I feel like I have nailed in my brain of what has been going on with me. And I just need to like let that end because I don't want to continue to disappoint myself when in reality, I am doing a lot. You're doing a lot. Don't let the things you didn't get done overshadow all of the things you did. Even if you decided to have a slower day, like you went outside, you touched grass, you worked out, you had a phone call with one of your friends, you finished a project at work. Like those are all things that are important and do matter, but they're like mundane things that maybe you just think like, oh, those are things I have to do. Those are things that like check off the list, but no. You're a person, you made time for it, you're doing the damn thing. So here's to you, here's to me, we're doing it. I think actually this is exactly what the doctor ordered, and it's this little conversation between you and me, because that perfect moment syndrome, be gone, because we are living for the moment and it doesn't need to be perfect. So happy Tuesday, go get them this week because you're gonna do it. I'm gonna do it. And let's watch the reunion tonight. I cannot wait. I'm freaking out. I seriously don't even know how to put into words how I'm feeling about this reunion and just what to think of. And I cannot wait to recap it tomorrow with Chi Chi. So another episode for you coming tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow. If it doesn't happen tomorrow, it's because I had to get to work and her and I ended up gabbing for like over 2 hours again. And so it had to be Thursday, but it's coming this week. I'm hoping tomorrow. And guess what? If it doesn't happen tomorrow, like I planned, that perfect moment, that's okay. Okay, now I feel like I'm really, really leaning into this a little too hard, but I'm having fun with it. Ta-ta for now.